This is To Catch a Cheater, the story of Teddy Fear. What you're looking at is a painstakingly reconstructed timeline of everything I could dig up on this story. It took a long time to create, so get comfy because we're going to be here for a little bit. Our story begins back on Thursday, around 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, at least for me. This was a worldwide investigation, but all my Discord messages will show EST, so we're going to be using that from now on. Scotty, a long-time member of the server, was enjoying a bit of PvP in Warsong Gulch when he observed a decked-out rogue he'd never heard of before. By Scotty's own admission, he hadn't been super active recently, but was curious as to who might have gotten so much gear while he was gone for a few months. Scotty took it upon himself to use TWoW's Armory web tool to look up the character. At 5:21, he posted the link to the Armory page in a place to post annoyances, the Thunder Ale Brewing Company's Salt Chat. With sarcastic flair, he posted, "I'm sure this didn't cost much," cynically implying the player Teddy Fear likely bought this character. The gear was primarily Rogue Tier 3, meaning they must have done Naxxramas extensively. There was a Gressel Dawn of Ruin Sword Mainhand, a Slayer's Crest, and Kiss of the Spider, all of which required multiple Naxxramas clears, and a good amount of luck. Teddy Fear also had a Thunder Fury, Blessed Blade of the Windseeker, as an offhand. Thunder Fury requires 2 rare drop bindings from Molten Core bosses, and 100 Arcanite bars just to get started, not something done quickly. The whole setup was strange to say the least. By 6:13, Only had started investigating by trying to figure out what guild Teddy Fear was in. Thunder Ale Brewing Company, shortened to Tab C from now on, is the oldest raiding guild on the server, so few other Naxxramas level raiders would escape their notice. Scotty reported that he believed Teddy Fear to be in a casual finish guild, while Only started finding odd posts in the TWoW Discord like this one. This person claimed to be level 36 back on March 28th. Tab C's Salt channel continued in earnest, trying to figure out who it could be. TWoW is a large community after all, and is international, so the conversation continued, trying to eliminate any other possibility, and Only continued to post more characterizing quotes from this person as well. Conspiracies started brewing that perhaps management was involved, and the chat grew very cynical. That's when I was brought in, to give my rigorous journalistic analysis of the situation. To get me up to speed, Only posted a very helpful infographic with some of the largest and most obvious complaints. I was likewise perplexed how a person like this could even exist on the server. It was a lot to take in at first, but there was enough here to at least have a suspicion about corruption. So, I knew I'd have to go off the record with my sources. Going off the record can allow journalists the freedom to speak to people who may be less willing to speak. A reporter promises what is said won't go on the record, and in return, the interviewee can loosen up a little bit. Given the potential for this story to have accusations of corruption, I knew people wouldn't want to comment right away, so I pressed on. I reached out to my various contacts. After a non-recorded voice call, I came out with some key facts I could bring back to the Tab C chat. I knew that whatever happened was logged somewhere, that this was a GM's doing. The impression I got from the call was that leadership was going to be very angry about this and that they were just finding out now. Even my contact agreed it looked suspicious. Right as I made my way back to the Tab C chat for my report, I saw that Jamie had posted about Teddy Fear. The situation was getting reviewed. Things were heating up. I've worked with Acalix before on stories, since he is TWoW team's public relations person. I messaged Acalix at 7:24. it was a professional courtesy to let PR know I was investigating and pass along any official statements to me as well. I didn't hear back right away, so I rejoined the TabC chat to see what else developed. While I was gone, only continued to have fun pointing out more improbable things about the Teddy Fear character, like being best in slot yet somehow only having 91 in herbalism. At 7:48, the biggest smoking gun yet got posted. User Papa John CEO, who knew enough about the Armory API to find deeper levels of data, posted this. To most, myself included, this just looked like HTML source code gibberish. But within was the most obvious sign of cheating yet. Faction 270 is the Zandalar tribe, and Teddy Fear had 0 reputation. The only way to accomplish that would be to never enter a Zul Garub raid. There was now no doubt in anyone's mind. Teddy Fear was a cheater, and probably had GM help. All there was to do was to wait for word from the team. At 7:55, Aclix got back to me with official word from the TWoW team. They launched their own investigation. The matter was less about cheating, but more about whether Teddy Fear was an illegal character sale or a GM who went rogue. Then I received another DM, only 12 minutes after the official investigation started. Server officials claimed that this bad actor was a GM acting to enrich their own character. This person's GM credentials were terminated and all ill-gotten gains deleted. There was celebration in the TabC chat, mixed with its usual blend of negativity from this not safe for workplace channel. European investigators who had stayed up late to watch the story unfold were finally able to go to sleep, while those with American time zones reveled in the solidarity against cheaters displayed there that day. Of course, those who did early research and fact-finding for the developers were rewarded for their efforts, which is normal when events like this happen. Looking back at the investigation, it was impressive. Everyone came together to get the cheater banned. But of course, there was more work to be done before I could say that I had done my due diligence as TWoW's premier reporter or. I jotted down a list of things that I had to know more about for my post-mortem investigation. Though often a lot of this work is simple fact-checking, some questions still remained. Who really was Teddy Fear? Did they act alone or did they have help? What transpired to let this happen, and how often does this kind of thing occur? Then there were the more subjective questions. Does all of this prove or disprove corruption from leadership? How will this affect TWoW's reputation? In light of all that is happening, what does the future hold for the server? We'll come back here later to see how the post-mortem investigation goes. The biggest outstanding matter to attend to was trying to get a statement from Teddy Fear. Unfortunately, by the time everything was said and done, they had moved their profile to private, and I had no way to reach out. As of this recording, I have used known associates as a means to get a hold of Teddy Fear, but sadly, they can still not be reached. Without another voice to add, I had to isolate what few things were known about Teddy Fear for certain. It wasn't much. I had one eyewitness quote stating that they had tier 2 level gear and appropriate weapons for that gearing, and a name of a guild. I was not able to reach anyone either from the guild as of the time of this recording, so I really had next to nothing to go off of. Except, I did know one other thing. Teddy Fear did have a GM accomplice. It might have all been one person, but I couldn't press forward until I had the facts. The investigation took 12 minutes, but was in-depth, as Acalix said. So then, there had to be more information that I wasn't seeing, or something was being hidden. I had to know who this GM was for certain. Hours after everything settled down, I went back to Acalix and asked, who was the GM? The answer was clear, but I had no way of knowing if it was a line being fed to TWoW's public relations or the truth, so I pressed more. I needed proof. Accolix came out with a screenshot, I truncated to fit the graphic here, but it was the header for the TWoW team's Discord, a place that I, as an investigative journalist, would love to be allowed into, but my vowed journalistic independence forbids it, since the only way to be there is to be part of the team. And I don't serve them, I serve the people. Nevertheless, the screenshot did show evidence that Teddy Fear, or someone named Teddy Fear, was active in their Discord. I wasn't satisfied with this. This only showed that Teddy Fear was involved with the team. It didn't rule out collusion. To put it in a grisly way, I needed to see the body. So I kept pressing, and I want to take a moment to thank Accolix for his patience with me badgering him relentlessly about getting better proof. You're a saint, and were more than gracious with my inquiries, Accolix. You served the TWoW community well. At some point, Accolix understood the level of proof I was asking for. If Teddy Fear and any accomplice were dead, I needed to see the death certificate. I was invited to see some of the behind-the-scenes GM-level logs that only people on the team are allowed to see. It should go without saying that all the specifics of this data were to be kept confidential. Scene IP addresses, hardware thumbprints, online aliases, etc. These were matters of privacy that the team closely guards. And if it meant I could have the confirmation I needed, then I would keep the team's confidences. Plus, the casual threat of a nuke coming my way helped keep me in line. So I got on a call with Accolix that lasted an hour. Even though I had to work in less than 6 hours, I knew that this was my best chance to see this material. If the news never sleeps, neither would I. So I got my proof, which for me was enough to give this quote as part of my own report. I saw the logs, in-game, through Accolix's client and can verify what he is saying was true. Teddy Fear worked alone. There was a GM account that was banned with several names within it, and there was a player account banned with several names within it, one of which was Teddy Fear. I saw enough accessory data to believe what was being said. But there were still some other loose ends that I had to tie up. Since people knew that I was on the hunt for information, I did have my DMs populate with more details about the Teddy Fear case. There were a lot more than 2 instances of this, but the 2 I'll be bringing up here are relevant for this report. In both these circumstances, these people who reached out to me were members of the TWoW community that I had prior dealings with. To protect them from harassment, I will conceal their identity, but I can vouch for the fact that they had nothing to gain from contacting me except to see the truth come out. First is a person we'll call Frank. Frank reported an oddity. A stranger they never talked to messaged them, going only by the name Stacy. Evidently, the Stacy person reached out to Frank out of an appreciation for something Frank did, and then confided that they always dreamed of being a human rogue with Thunder Fury. Given what we know about Teddy Fear being a human rogue with a Thunder Fury, it certainly was an odd coincidence. Then they casually dropped this next statement. They tried and failed to bribe Torta 2 years ago, but were rebuffed. What an odd thing to say. And it certainly shows a lack of regard for fair play. Fortunately for us, Frank had the wherewithal to capture this exchange because shortly after the Teddy Fear event transpired, all of the messages sent to Frank were deleted. Even more suspicious was the discovery by Frank that both Teddy Fear and this Stacy person blocked Frank. And this happened before Teddy Fear closed his accounts from DMs altogether. Now, this doesn't prove anything beyond a shadow of a doubt. Few things are as concrete online, but there is a good chance that these were the same people with 2 different Discord accounts. If that is true, then we know that there's also a chance that they have wanted to cheat for 2 years and management would not allow them with bribes. A comforting thought and worth entering into record. The second loose end was more of a hindrance than a help. We'll call them Bob. Bob was so enthusiastic about the investigation that they took it upon themselves to get a Discord DM discussion going with Teddy Fear before I could collect enough information to start myself. Bob pretty much just went full ham and asked Teddy Fear the question that a paparazzi might, and brought my name up in doing so. First, let me be clear. You should try to avoid harassing people like this. Not only will this make them want to clam up and be less likely to speak, but you might also run the chance of being wrong and harassing someone for no reason. In either case, it is a lose-lose for the server community, and I strongly advised against it. My second point about this, I run an upstanding, ethical, journalistic outfit here. I won't have this program's reputation dragged through the mud, nor do I want people to think that my attention will bring harassment. Bob was properly dressed down by yours truly, the logs of which I'll keep out of the report. And with that, the last of my loose ends were tied up. So let's review how all of this looks in light of the post-mortem investigation. First off, more than anything, I understand that this Teddy Fear person was stupid. They acted brashly with no regard to cover their tracks. Even their wish list of items wasn't even the best it could be according to some of Tabsy's best rogues. They played a stupid game and won a stupid prize, banishment. I think I understand now that the GMs are all-knowing, they're just not everywhere at the same time. Though I forgot to add this into the infographic, I did get word from Aclix that there will be a review of the GM logs to catch any more bad actors. So it seems that this happened because no one on the team was paying attention, more so than there being lax rules or complacency. GMs are a finite resource, and a plurality of their efforts are spent on dealing with tickets, banning botters, and gutting gold sellers. Their attention is rarely on their own, though that may change in the future. Sadly, an event like this does rouse suspicion. I think this does tarnish the team's reputation a bit, though in this case the bad apple didn't ruin the whole bunch. It is an embarrassment, but one that shouldn't last long. Along with that thought, there are also still lingering concerns about the honesty of the team with the server. However, given the rapid response, the team being willing to give me proof that they did what they said they did, and some circumstantial evidence that bribery has failed here for some time, I think for now many of those concerns can be relaxed. Overall, this was a whirlwind story to follow. Things developed quickly, but between the sheer stupid audacity of Teddy Fear, the shock and disgust from the team, and even the surprise of those discovering it, this feels more like an exception than the rule. This experience has honed my investigative skills though, and has made me more sensitive to the whispers in the community. Trust that I will keep watch. For you, the viewer, all I can advise is to be aware that people can cheat. If you suspect people are hacking, exploiting, or otherwise cheating, report them to the GMs. If you don't feel safe doing so, my mailbox and DMs are open as well. I'm here to serve you. That wraps up our special investigative piece. I'd like to thank everyone listed here for their contributions, either from direct quotes, materials, or just cheering from the sidelines. This is a community broadcast, and I couldn't do it without the community helping. I've been Vrograg with TWoW News. I hope you enjoyed this special report. And remember, the deadliest weapon is knowledge.